I'm your host, Francy Rawls, and welcome back to the Weekly Reading. You're probably wondering where I am. You see a furnace and you see all this coal, and it's really, really hot in here, and I'm in black and white. We are shooting a special for Founders Day, so I decided to go back in time where the studio should be, but it's in the future now. I think I'm stuck here, and I do not know how to get back to the year of 2021. Hopefully by the end of the show, I'll be back in the studio. So let's look at some highlights of the Founders Day.
And she, ever present in the modern world, shines in spaces and places. The faces of women past and present, beautiful and bold, are etched in stone and gold. So may she always be on solid ground, surrounded by love and warmth and thousands of warm souls who will forever be grateful. So many stories still untold. History, herstory, they repeat themselves, you know. And though we live in different times, the blueprint can also still be your guide. So to the skies and all about and around the founding of this special place. The founding. Found.
The bell is inscribed with a portion of Isaiah chapter 61, verse 1, which reads, "To proclaim liberty to the captives and the opening of the prison to them that are bound." This was and continues to be the mission of this precious and needful institution.
Bennett, in all of its boldness and all of its strong foundations, was the first college, the first accredited four-year college in the nation to have an African-American female president.
Think about it. 148 years later, Bennett College has matured over a period of 3 centuries, transitioning and becoming our beloved alma mater. Thanks to the founders of Bennett College, we owe them a debt of gratitude for their investment and their visionary leadership. Just as Bennett College evolved, its history is the legacy of its many founders. More importantly, Bennett College, a college that educates African American women and prepares them for an ever-changing future, Bennett College is also a part of our story and our legacy.
Knowledge is still power, and the more knowledge, the more power. So today, on Founders Day, we pause to embrace our past while celebrating the present and preparing for the future.
As I came to this institution, I did not really know anything about Bennett College. But as is the maxim, you can see someone's character in moments of crisis. And what I witnessed was resilience in an active, loving community.
Bennett College is an institution like no other. Our smallness is our strength. The famous words from President Suzanne Walsh. Bennett College is a place where African American women are encouraged to unify between one another, emphasize and execute pillars of service to our community, and commit to the personification of ethical morals and values that define us as young women.
For 148 years, this institution has stood, and for 95 of those years, this has been one of the most important spaces in the cultivation and empowerment of Black women that the world has ever known.
Ms. Muhammad, as you listen to this, when you think about what is the role of a Bennett Bell today, how do you think about that legacy of activism today?
I think the legacy of activism today for Bells is to continue what we've been doing. We come from a very long line of strong and passionate line of Black women who were unafraid. You know, we talked about these sit-ins, and every year we hear about the Fantastic Four at A&T, but we don't hear much about the Bells who were creating and organizing and planning in the basements of A&T. We don't
see everybody nodding in the room.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
We don't hear about the women, you know, who planned for the sit-in the first place, but they just went ahead and sat anyways. And then we followed up later on at 5 o'clock. You know, we don't hear about our own place and space that we took up, and we're often not credited for that.
At Bennett, we talk all the time about the support that we receive from each other, Sister Bells, while there to this very day, until the day we die. It's just internalized. And that's the essence of building social relationships. That's the importance of social relationships, that we are serving one another. And that HBCUs do that continuously. It's so very critical.
Thank you to Ms. Mackle, to apparently Dr. Muhammad, and to Dr. Favors. This was such an important discussion. This gave us, I think, the energy and the boost that we all needed at this point in the semester, at this point in what's happening in history. This was exactly what we needed. And I think it was a way of allowing us to recenter in what it means to be a Bennett Bell.
I said, hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Hold on, just a little while longer. Everything's gonna be all right. I said, sing on, just a little while longer. Sing on, just a little while longer. Sing on, just a little while longer. Everything's gonna be all right. Thank you and happy Founders Day.
So I'm still here, and it's getting hotter and hotter by the minute. I talked to some of the workers to figure out what was behind me, and it's the heating system. So they use coal to put in the furnace. So the furnaces carry the heat through tunnels throughout the campus to the dorms, where the dorms have boilers. First the furnaces took coal, then they used oil, and then in the 1990s it changed because all the dorms had their own heating systems. So, Sinclair, are you there? I need to get out of here.
Hello everyone, I'm Sinclair Bennett from the Weekly Ring, and I'm here with Ms. Muhammad. She was a panelist at today's Founders Day program. Was today your first panelist program?
No, I've done some ACEs before, but it was my first time being a co-host, for sure.
So did you like the experience, or you probably won't do it again?
No, I would definitely do it again,
Okay.
Especially as pertains to history, since that is my major concentration. I really enjoyed it.
So what was your favorite part about today's program?
I love the keynote address that Dr. Favors had gave, and his commitment to understanding the history of Bennett in particular, especially when not so many people take that time to understand us and our history. So I really appreciate the keynote address, and of course all the other performances, like Harisha had done her song, and Ms. Faison had did her poetry. I just love the entire thing, but definitely.
So as you focus in history in your major, what do you think is something that everyone can take away from? What is the most important thing that our viewers can take away from Founders Day?
I think that Bennett College in particular has been such a catalyst for change in Greensboro and for the world. I think that what they can take away from this Founders Day is that Bennett College is small, but we do big things, and we've done big things, and the things that we are not often given credit for are still things that we contribute to at the end of the day. And I feel like this Founders Day, if anything, should show that history matters and history is important, and telling our story is very vital.
Thank you so much for joining us. And if you all would like to listen to some highlights from Founders Day, you can join us on the Bel Air Radio Show. Hello everyone, I'm Sinclair Bennett from the Weekly Ring, and I'm here with President Walsh right after Founders Day. So tell us about Founders Day this year. Did you enjoy it?
Oh my gosh, I thought it was so exciting. It was really, I think, a different way of looking at Bennett, having somebody who's studied us and who's been in the archives. I thought it was really exciting. And then having an alum and having a current student as part of the discussion to really give, I think, the full flavor of Bennett through the generations. I thought it was great. What did you think?
The speech was definitely my favorite part. I like the panelists afterwards. What was your favorite part of the program?
So I loved hearing from Kyrisha. So this was her first time as the soloist for the college. I loved that. I loved the poem. I love the opening prayer. It just really centered us, and then the closing prayer I thought were beautiful bookends. You know, Reverend McLean just always knows what to say at the right moment. And I thought the speeches from the faculty representative and the staff representative, fantastic. I think I basically have named everything. It was all my favorite.
Yes, the program was beautiful. Founders Day was virtual. Next year, do you think it will be in person or?
I think next year will be a hybrid. That's my prediction.
Have you ever done an in-person Founders Day?
I was just saying to Ms. Muhammad, also known as Dr. Muhammad, that I did, but I had only been in the job like 2 months.
Thank you, President Walsh, for joining us on the Weekly Ring. And if you all would like to watch Founders Day, you can watch it on Bennett College's YouTube channel.
Welcome to Bennett Tea with MB. If you're walking around Bennett and you see a grave, you might be wondering who that is. Why is she there and what was her purpose? Well, in 1976, they buried Miss Vicious Gossip. But sometimes we may wonder, is she really gone? Check out this article from 1983. Lisa Murray is confused as to whether they really buried Miss Vicious Gossip. Did the class of 1976 really put her in that grave? Or does her spirit still wander around these halls? Does her viciousness still creep throughout the calf? Lisa Murray doesn't think so. She thinks we might need to exhume that body and put her back in there. Her viciousness is still around. You may be wondering about before Miss Vicious Gossip was buried. Well, let's take it back to the 1940s, when she was so vicious that she put her claims in the newspaper. Listen to this. This campus chatter is from Murner Hall. Miss EJ, class of 41, and Miss LW, class of 41, seem to be flushed with telephone calls and Sunday night callers, but these callers are so short. Editor's note, better short than none at all, I suppose. Miss ABC, what is the matter with Mr. WO? Is it MH again? Although Bennett students could not attend the Erskine-Hawkins dance, Miss WJ, class of 40, seemed awfully glad when the day of the dance arrived. LC, class of 41, is all smiles again. Her erring boyfriend has returned again to the Murner fold. Sister class spirit seems to mean nothing at all to Miss JW, class of 41, at least in relation to Mr. LW. Could you imagine if I was on the Weekly Ring telling everyone about you and your phone calls, Miss JW, Miss MB, all of your business in the streets like that? I couldn't imagine it. In 1969, if you had a problem, you'd tell all your tea to Joy. You'd write in and she'd respond in the school newspaper. Do you want to hear one now? Dear Joy, I have been here for 4 years and I have not as yet had a date. Please tell me what is wrong. Hopeless case. Dear hopeless case, perhaps you're too reserved or too much of an introvert. Be more outgoing. Don't wait for enjoyment to come. Get out and find it, and in the meantime, you're bound to find someone. Here's another one. This one is juicy. Dear Joy, this summer I had an affair with an older man. He's unhappily married and has 1 child. He has promised to divorce his wife and marry me. We have agreed to fight the custody of his child. Now I have fallen for another. I want to break off with the other man, yet he threatens to tell my boyfriend about our interlude. What should I do? Frightened. Dear Frightened, falling for a fellow so soon after your affair with another man may indicate that you aren't ready for a steady or settled relationship with any man. Perhaps this isn't a love at all. Find out, go out, and meet other fellows. And by all means, get a tighter grip on your emotions. Give yourself time to mature. You certainly don't want to fall into the same bag again. As to the threats made by the other man, why not wait and see what happens there? Well, I personally think Joy gives great advice. Would any of you mind sending in your tea? Have you ever heard anyone complaining about the problems on campus? Well, let's take it back to 1987 so we can hear some of their complaints. This article is called Complaints Can't Earn You a Degree by Tish Richmond. This article basically sums up how, after our initial shock of coming to Bennett, we start to see its imperfections. But do those complaints overtake our experience? In her last paragraph, she says, so which is more important, complaining about the college's physical problems, the food, the administration, or is taking advantage of the benefits and opportunities of Bennett more important to you? Or what about this one from Carla Bannister called Obsession with the Man Makes for Misery? Have you ever seen a woman so obsessed with a man that she talks about him constantly? Have you ever had a friend that centers her whole life around making her man happy? Are you the type of person to let your boyfriend control you by using your day after day while you sit suffering? Obsessive behavior is a disease, according to the book Women Who Love Too Much by therapist Robin Norwood. Obsession has its roots in low self-esteem, but most often a destructive relationship also resembles a situation or relationship a woman has experienced in childhood. That's tea. Now, I know you may think that your problems are solely yours, but after reading these articles, it seems like that stuff hasn't gone anywhere. I hear this stuff on a daily basis. Crazy boyfriend, I'm tired of being here, complaints about the food, gossip, all of the above. These problems just don't belong to the belles of the 2020s. That's been going on for so long. Thank you for enjoying a cup of tea with MB. See you next time.
Oh my gosh, Jisha, is that you?
Hey, Francy, what you doing back here, girl?
I'm stuck here. How did you get here?
Well, on the radio show, we have like a time machine gadget that we use to travel back and forth. So I was just, wandering through the tunnels, just regular stuff, yeah.
Okay. How's the radio show going?
The radio show is good. How's the weekly ring?
It's going well.
That's good.
So I've been hearing a lot of good news about you. What have you been up to?
Yeah, so I was just at the White House virtually for a press briefing with some HBCU student journalists, and I asked about the abortion law in Texas, and then afterwards I got to interview the director of African American media at the White House, and her name is Miss Erica Lowe.
That's so cool. Is it okay if we look at some highlights?
Of course.
And also, do you know how to get back? Like, can I ride with you in your time machine? Because,
Well, unfortunately, my time machine only carries, one person at a time. I'll be taking some stuff, when I be traveling and stuff. I take it back. I think I know a secret that it can get you back.
Okay.
Jaisha Smalls from Bennett College. Hopefully I said your first name right.
Jaisha.
Oh, man. So Jaisha, everybody screws up my name, so I apologize. Not that I should screw up yours, but I know how that feels. But give me your question. You got the second question.
Yes. So I read an article about the Biden administration suing the state of Texas due to the new abortion law. Is this true? And what is this process looking like? And how does the administration feel about the abortion law?
So let me first say that the Attorney General did make an announcement yesterday about this particular law that you're talking about and what the Department of Justice is going to do moving forward. And I want to add, President Biden has been incredibly strong in the opposition of this new law that's been very clear. He has called it unconstitutional when it comes to the rights of women. Clearly, as you all know, he believes in women's rights, and he's going to do everything that he can within the power of the White House to make sure that we address this.
So in the studio with me right now, I have Miss Erica Lowe, who is the director of African American media at the White House. Wow, so exciting. Thank you for joining me today, Miss Erica Lowe. Yeah, so my first question just has to be like, how did you build a passion for media and where did it come from?
Well, let's see. I think, when they say representation matters, representation absolutely matters. And I think that I remember growing up and, I had to read the paper. I had to, I would watch the news with my family. I remember, I believe the anchor was Joy Purdy in Florida. And I remember seeing, women of color, on the journalism beat. And I thought it was cool. I didn't know a whole lot about what it was that they were doing. But, I knew I saw them on TV. I knew that they were really dressed up. They seemed really smart. And I was like, well, I want to be all those things. And so when I went to school, I was on a journalism track. But I quickly learned that journalism wasn't exactly, I wanted to be journalism adjacent. But I didn't necessarily want to do journalism. But I knew I wanted to stay in communications. And that's what I did. That's what I seemed to be good at. I continued to excel. I was interested in it. I'm always reading the news, trying to figure out what's happening in the world, how we can, play a role. So, and, you know, they say that people who got in trouble in school for talking a lot, you know, often are often in communications. And I definitely did a lot of that. So worked out.
Okay. So you mentioned college and you went to the University of Florida. So
I did.
And you worked in the public relations the department at the school. So talk about that.
I did. So I was in the College of Journalism. I majored in public relations. And then as my work study job, I worked for the president of the university. So I guess you can say I love working for presidents. So I worked for the president of the university. And, you know, there was some communications involved on that front as well.
Thank you all for tuning into Weekly Ring. And I hope you have a festive fall break. I think I have a trick to get back. Oh my gosh, it worked. I can see all my colors.